LSU Beach Volleyball on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Louisiana Cat, your statewide Caterpillar dealer in Louisiana, and by Cox Home Life. In select Cox service areas, Home Life provides a security and automation solution so you can unlock your home's full potential. Visit Cox.com for more details. The beach is where it's at tonight. We're in Houston, Texas. Houston Baptist and LSU in beach volleyball. It's been wall-to-wall volleyball at this venue for the past 24 hours, and a lot more to come tomorrow. We are delighted that you are with us here on CST. With Brittany Roderick, I'm Lynn Rollins. Brittany, let's get people acquainted with how a match actually is won. There will be 6 matches going on, 6 pair actually competing. The pair number 6 is an exhibition, so it does not count in the overall standings, but you've got to win 3 of those 5 as you see the matchups tonight for LSU against Houston Baptist.
Yep, and each game goes to 21, and if it has to go to a third set, it'll go to 15.
Well, let's take a look at some of the rules of beach volleyball. Very similar to the indoor game, but there are some changes. Schools play a duel. In other words, 5 pairs will go 2 against 2. You've got to win 3 of those 5 in order to claim the match. There is rally scoring. That's the same thing as in indoor volleyball. Points scored on every serve. And, of course, the first and second sets are 21 points each. The third set is 15. You've got to win by 2 in each of those sets, and the team with 3 pair victories wins the duel. So it's not that much unlike the indoor game, but there are some things that we'll talk about during the telecast that differentiate the game on the beach and the game indoors. Let's look at tonight's weather, brought to you by Cox Home Life. Clear skies, temperature right now 75 degrees. The winds are gusty. They will be a factor in tonight's play. Southeast at 16 miles an hour, gusts higher than that, and they have been absolutely steady throughout the day. Humidity 48%. We can't see it now, but there is a full moon overhead. You couldn't ask for a better night for volleyball.
Couldn't ask for a better night, and I think these girls are excited to be here. They already played a match earlier today, both teams, and the evening match is all anticipated, and all the crowd is gathered around.
And we are ready to go as the teams will meet underneath the net. Number 14 for LSU is Claire Coppola. Number 13 is Kristen Nuss. Number 13 for HBU is Jessica Wooten. And Ariel Horton wears number 12. So LSU in purple, Houston Baptist in blue, and we're just about set to go for beach volleyball LSU style tonight from Third Coast Volleyball in Houston.
I think it's a key tonight for Houston Baptist to get out to a quick start. They need to gain some confidence early because LSU is the number 7 ranked team in the country, so they're going to need to get off to a fast start.
These Tigers have won 13 consecutive matches, including one tonight. And the dump shot is good by by Nuss for the first LSU point.
Smart play. That was just an easy roll shot. There was no block in front of her, so she basically had the entire court to work with.
Kristen Nuss serving. One apiece.
Now in that play, you'll see that there really wasn't a defensive play made. The reason being, in the game of beach, you have to give up a spot. And in this case, the line was the open spot, and it was unreachable.
That's in, right corner, 2-1 LSU.
Houston Baptist has served Claire Coppola both times, and probably the reason why they're doing that is because she is going to be the harder hitter. She's going to be more experienced in the front row, so it has challenged Kristen Nuss to go ahead and get both of those kills.
That's blocked at the net for the point. Let's look at Coppola do some work here at the net.
She timed the ball perfectly, and the key to blocking is that penetration, and she had it the entire time. And boy, did she celebrate.
That hit the pin and falls out of bounds. It's LSU's point.
Outside the antenna is illegal, just the same as the indoor. There you're going to see 2 different antennas, and you have to make sure that the ball stays inside in playable area.
That's well done defensively by LSU. This is a very long rally as beach volleyball rallies go. That's in, deep left corner.
Jessica Wooten was able to take advantage of Claire Coppola not blocking and being able to hit that deep angle shot. That was the longest rally we've seen so far, and it might be the longest rally we see in this first game.
It's the longest rally I've seen the whole day. Very well done. And a serve into the net, a mistake on the service line. By the way, this court is slightly smaller than an indoor court. It's 16 meters long, 8 meters wide, 52 feet 6 inches by 26 feet 3 inches. And the net height for women in beach volleyball is 7 feet 4 1/8 of an inch. LSU leading 6-2.
Also, you can see that they have switched sides. So something that happens in this sport of beach is that they switch sides every 7 during the first 2 games. And if it happens to go to a 3rd game, then you'll switch sides every 5. And that mostly is to make sure when it is sunny that both teams don't get blinded.
LSU has had a lot of well-placed balls here early in this first set.
Kristen Nuss has been killing it. No pun intended. She was the Gatorade Player of the Year candidate. She's here from Louisiana and is quickly developing skills to become a pretty dangerous beach player.
Nuss rolls it over. Kept alive. Nuss finds the open spot.
And what that play is called is a poke. So in the beach game, you can't open hand tip like you can in the indoor game. So here you're just gonna see her put 2 fingers up, poke it to that deep line, and they were not able to run it down.
So you actually hit it with your knuckles?
You hit it with your knuckles. It's kind of hard to control, but you have to practice in order to be good at it.
Houston Baptist counters with a point. 8-3 LSU, first set. Things move quickly in beach volleyball.
Things move very quickly. I can't believe it's already over halfway.
This is Jessica Wooten serving. That's well done. Lobbed over the taller Coppola.
First time calling out Ariel Horton name. Great placement. She sees the block, goes over it, and actually tries to use the top of the hands. That is a very hard thing that Kristen Nuss is not going to be able to run down.
That's very nicely done. The touch shot by Claire Coppola. She actually had her back to the net when she hit that thing.
She did, and that is a legal move. She just wanted to get a kill stat on her side, I think.
9-4 LSU and serving for more. And LSU's favorite was a deep set as it turned out, but it cleared the net, and LSU gets the point.
It did. Something else I want to make sure the viewers know is that there is no line underneath the net. So the players can run underneath, they can fall underneath, they can dig a ball underneath, just as long as they're not interfering with the players on the other side. We've seen that a lot already through these rallies, and that's definitely something that differs the indoor and outdoor game.
But the net itself is untouchable. That would result in a point for the other team.
Yep, absolutely. And you see another move here. Serving is a very important part of this beach game because it's the first contact, and it basically determines the mood and the skill of the entire rally. So you'll see here, she got an ace, she came back with a miss. So that's something that you definitely don't want to do. You follow an ace with a make, no matter how easy it is.
Brittany, I talked to a lot of players today who are battling this wind, and it's been very steady and gusting out of the south-southwest, essentially. LSU players tell me they would rather serve into the wind, not with the wind. They would rather serve into the wind and let the wind knock the ball down and take it away swerve, as it were, against defensive players.
Yep, if you're serving with the wind, then the wind kind of carries it and does whatever you want with it, which sometimes results in a missed serve. So you want to make sure you're serving into the wind. Which
is what LSU is doing right now. The wind is in the face of the Tigers.
Yep, exactly. You have better control that way.
Coppola bought some time with that return, and she wins the battle at the net.
The game of volleyball is all about rhythm, and in that case, with her free ball being so high, it kind of threw them a little bit off and also gave her and her teammates some time to catch their breath and get back in the places that they needed to be.
Now serving. That was nicely done by Jessica Wooten.
A cut shot like that is very dangerous, and you want to have that in your back pocket if you're going to be a good beach player, because that hard angle, no one's really ever going to be there, and the only people who are going to be able to pick that up are the DSs or liberos, and Claire Coppola is not one of those. And now you see why Claire Coppola has not been served a lot, because she is very tough to defend along the net, a very strong hitter, and knows exactly where to place the ball.
14-6, LSU leading first set. And we do have a timeout right here. One is taken every time the score reaches an aggregate of 21. We'll be right back. LSU leading in the first set. We remind you to tune in tomorrow as we bring you more live coverage from the HBU Invitational. First up at noon, the LSU Tigers face the Tulane Green Wave. Then at 4, the Tigers take on Central Arkansas. CST, your leader in Gulf South sports. We're back to action. LSU in purple, Houston Baptist in blue. 14-6 Tigers, another long rally and a miss hit by Jessica Wooten.
That rally was all about defense, and the key to defense when playing beach is staying on your feet. The longer you can stay on your feet, the more capable you're going to be at getting that ball.
That's an angle put away by Coppola. LSU now with 11 kills in the match.
11 kills. She's a 2-time beach state champion in high school from Scottsdale, Arizona, and she was also in high school AVCA All-American, so she has beach in her blood.
That's nicely put away by Jessica Wooten. Wooten actually is coming off a broken ankle this past season.
She is. She's recovered well, and actually with playing beach, it's going to make her a better indoor player if she decides to play both indoor and outdoor. And beach can be also a really good physical therapy rehabilitation mode to use.
Wooten did not start beach volleyball until last spring. She was an indoor player, but she has quickly adapted to the game on sand, but coming off an ankle break a year ago.
She was actually the all-time kill leader in Houston Baptist Division I Air entering the 2016 season before she got hurt. So she is a very talented volleyball player.
16-10, LSU leading in the first set.
A little bit of a controversial ending to this. Kristen Nuss looks like she tried to hit that back line. I didn't see the line move, so the ref gave it to Houston Baptist.
And I think you got it right. The lines are in, so if that tape is hit, that's considered in the court. It's got to be outside the line for it to be out of bounds.
Yep, and we were talking to the ref earlier, and I loved how he said sometimes we can check the ball marks. And that's something that the indoor game you can't do. That's why they have sometimes the video playback. But here at beach, you check the ball marks.
And there is no challenge system in the beach game.
Nope, there is no challenge system. And now they switch sides again. Great placement. Sees the open court. Kristen Nuss there was trying to read her, obviously thinking she was going to go line, then changed it last second going angle, and it's really hard to recover when you start moving in one direction.
Go, Jay, yeah? You're there. One up. No, go. You go. Come on.
Coppola recovered nicely and pushes one for a point. You know, it's interesting, as other matches get through, all the players who've been playing start lining up around the matches that are going on. So right now, we've got LSU players, we've got Houston Baptist players ringing most of this court.
I love it.
And they'll be cheering every point.
They are. They're very cheering on their players, and this is where it's similar to indoor, but you get the team idea. You have two people on the court, but your entire team is cheering you on, and this is just such a fun atmosphere to play in. My first time being at something like this, I'm just absolutely in love, and I can see why these players play it.
Well, when the teams switch sides, too, their teammates switch sides.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be on the wrong side.
That's right. LSU is 2 points away from claiming the first set against Houston Baptist. Now it's a 1-point need for LSU, and we've got a timeout right here.
So we have one timeout per game, and the players are allowed to call it.
Right now, we're going to get a close look at Russell Brock. That's not him in your picture right now, but you'll get a look at the LSU head coach in just a moment. That's Russell in the dark shirt behind the assistant coach. So we put you right in the huddle there as Russell Brock and Trey Cruz talk to Claire Coppola and Kristen Nuss.
It looked like Trey Cruz was trying to give confidence to Kristen Nuss, saying, make sure you do a better job, focus in on changing your angles, even though let's look like you're going somewhere, but then change your wrist motion and change your swing to go another place, because the other side, Ariel Horton's doing a really good job at reading her right now, and she's a really good defensive specialist.
LSU just 1 point away from a first set victory. That's out. And the first set belongs to the LSU Tigers. 21-11, the final score in set one from Houston. We'll be back with the second set in a moment on Cox Sports Television. LSU has captured the first set against Houston Baptist. We're watching the #1 pair, and Coppola Nuss, a 21-11 victor over Wooten Horton for Houston Baptist. Let's look at our Louisiana Cat stats in the first set. The Tigers had 12 kills, the Huskies with 8. 1 ace for LSU as we get set for set number 2. HBU receiving. That was a perfect setup for Coppola, right where she wanted it. She had a lot of options.
She did, and she sees pretty far over the block as well. So she was able to read that hard angle. You can see it right here. It's wide open. Smart shot. The key is not making errors, and that's what Houston Baptist did too much of in the first set, was they made way too many errors, things that they can control. They need to come back in this set and just keep putting it on the Tigers for the Tigers to make the mistakes.
Ariel Horton serving into the wind. That's just out a couple of inches beyond the stripe. Good idea by Coppola, but just a little too much emphasis on it.
Didn't execute that poke, as they like to say in the beach volleyball terms, but that would have been really hard if it did stay in.
There's the little touch shot to the open court. Both of these freshmen, Coppola and Nuss, see the court so well.
They do, and here, Jessica Wooten backs up, doesn't block, so that spot in front of her was wide open as her momentum was moving backwards. that time she was able to use the block to her advantage, and that's something else that the game of beach brings into play. Blocking isn't just the normal blocking like indoor. In beach, you have to not only be able to block an area, but also be able to recover if the ball goes off your block and it's in your area. Your defensive player, there's only one other person on the court with you, so you need to be able to recover the shorter balls.
And it requires a lot of communication.
A lot of communication, and these girls, I don't know if everybody knows, viewers that's watching, but these girls are really good at all-around game of volleyball. They know how to pass, they know how to serve, block, and hit. And in this rally, you can see they do absolutely everything here. And it's just so fun to watch these total athletes compete.
3 each in the second set. LSU won the first set. How about that dive by Nuss? And the winner.
That's the way to finish. And what's so fun about this game is normally in the indoor game, a girl like her doesn't get to hit. And in the beach, she gets to put that kill away and be able to hear her teammates scream after her to get that kill to finish that point. And it's so fun because she was on her knees at one point and then getting the kill the next point.
Only one other SEC team plays beach volleyball right now. That's South Carolina. On the other hand, in the Southland Conference, the conference in which HBU competes, there are 4 active teams. In addition to HBU, Central Arkansas, UNO, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Next year, Abilene Christian will start a beach volleyball team out of the Southland Conference, and Sam Houston State has announced its intentions to start one in 2019. That would put the Southland Conference with 6 members and a chance to compete individually as a conference by NCAA sanction.
Yep, so LSU currently competes in the CCSA conference, which has 8 teams, and they have a tournament actually before the NCAA tournament. They have a tournament at the end of April. And again, the SEC only has 2 teams, so they're not able to compete as the SEC, but they are able to compete as the CCSA. And I know as this sport continues to grow, maybe potentially the SEC will be able to gain its name back here on the beach volleyball court.
LSU 6-4 in the second set. That serve appeared to be in. It was an ace for Coppola.
I think the wind took that one. The balls for beach volleyball are lighter, so when there are gusts of winds, the direction and the speed are definitely affected.
They have to be between 25.5 and 27 inches in circumference, and they're inflated to between 2.5 and 3.2 pounds per square inch. None of that means a whole lot to me, but you were talking about the slight difference in the volleyballs.
Yep, it is. Which can be weather. In this outdoor sport, weather can affect things, and that just throws in another characteristic as to why this sport is so fun.
Beach volleyball teams will play as many as 3 matches in a day at these very popular tournaments. You might see 2 matches in a day at a tournament on the indoor game, but never 3.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, these girls are working really, really hard, and if anybody's ever tried to run on a beach when they're on, spring break, it's double as hard as it is to run on an indoor track. So these girls are working really hard, and it looks like we maybe have another controversial call.
I thought that ball was out. And I believe he has reversed the call and given the point to 9-6 LSU. Well, originally they gave the point to HBU. Did they sustain that?
They did.
Okay.
They said that ball was in. But then sometimes when you get a call like that and you're kind of angry about it, then you come back and do that. Perfect set, a perfect pass to start. Passing is very important. Then a set nice and off the net. She's able to see the court. Execution at its best.
An excellent try by Jessica Wooten, but she just didn't have the room. LSU won the first set. This is set 2. Best 2 of 3. Should we go to 3 sets, it will be a 15-point set.
Go! Here we go! Oh, I got it! Here, let's go!
That was well done, the poke by Ariel Horton.
As I was talking about the rhythm earlier, sometimes a pass set hit just gets a little bit too monotonous, and mixing it up with over on 2 can give you exactly what you needed.
Horton played the libero position on the indoor team. And that's, of course, something very different from this game.
Oh, it definitely is. But there are 2 different types of players, per se, on the beach. There are blockers, and then there are defenders. So on each side, Claire Coppola is the blocker for LSU. You see her standing up at the net right now. She's calling out the serve, calling out where she's going to block. Then on the other side, Jessica Wooten is going to be the blocker. Then that leaves Kristen Nuss and Ariel Horton to be the defenders, per se. So they're just a little bit better at reading the hitter, running down balls, and a little bit closer to the ground, so they're a little bit quicker than the blockers, per se.
Horton brings her own cheering squad to each match. She comes from a family of 8. And they follow her around and support her in her beach volleyball activities.
I wonder where they are. I haven't heard any crazy Horton chants yet. I want to hear that.
That's very nicely done by Coppola, and we've got a timeout right here. LSU is leading 13-8 in the second set after winning the first one. More beach volleyball in a moment from Houston. After the technical timeout, we resume action. LSU serving with a 13-8 lead. Coppola. Good for the point.
This set is a little bit closer, and I think that Houston Baptist, this is kind of their home court, and they want to make sure that they give it all they got. And they've been fighting every single point. But when we really think about it, LSU is the number 7 team in the country. As a team, they're 14-5. They've won the last 12 duels, so they're going to be very hard to defeat. But I would say that HBU is doing everything they can to give them a run for their money.
Well, and let's add one more victory to that streak. They've won 13 in a row, counting the one earlier today.
Just keep on winning. And this is a great replay. Wide open court. There was no blocker in front of her, so she had a choice of wherever she wanted to hit.
The Tigers this year started by choice with a very difficult schedule. They were 2-5 at one point. They haven't lost since. They've had a long, long winning streak.
Their only losses are USC, which is ranked number 1, Florida State, which is ranked number 2 in the country, and Arizona State, who's number 11. And now when I say their only losses, I'm saying this duo only has 3 losses, and that's to the number 1, number 2, and number 11 team in the entire country. So I would say that's a pretty impressive year for them so far.
15-10 LSU. Second set. It could be a match decider. That's working the angles very, very nicely. And again, that's an example of the court awareness by Kristen Nuss.
I like to call this the slice shot. Taking a slice out of the court, seeing the block, tipping your wrist a little bit backwards in order to get that angle. And that's really hard to do, but she does it with ease. And as a freshman too, it's very impressive that she already has all of these different moves down. These 2 girls are going to be hard to reckon with for the rest of the 4 years that they're at LSU.
That's out. You know, this is the first time in LSU's brief beach volleyball history where there has not been an indoor player, an active indoor player, also on the spring beach roster. So both rosters now are independent of each other.
I think that's so impressive. LSU's had beach for a couple of years now, But these girls are really showing that all year round they're training, living, breathing beach volleyball, and they have moves like this. You would never do that in the indoor game because there are 6 different players across from you. That's a free ball in an indoor game. In the beach game, you have to be able to know when to take advantage of those parts of the courts.
And interestingly enough, Fran Florey's indoor LSU team is in Houston this weekend.
Are they?
Playing a spring practice schedule against opponents in this area.
That's another very impressive volleyball team. Fran Florey is such a legend in the sport. And I know that she was involved with growing this beach team at LSU.
17-12, LSU leading.
I think that was the first error I've seen from Claire Coppola. You could tell she really wanted to get that down, but the set was a little bit too tight and a little bit too low, and she should have probably just poked it over.
She'll get another chance right here.
Well, and as the duel goes on, your legs start giving out. You're not able to jump as high. You're not able to move as quick. And that's kind of what you're starting to see. These girls are really feeling the sand beneath them.
There's about 15 inches of sand here on this court. So if you dug down 15 inches, you'd find sand all the way.
That's a lot of sand.
Heads up. You've still got it, Brittany Roderick.
I wanted that dig so bad.
Thanks for protecting me, too.
Oh, I have no problem at all.
That was a very similar mistake to what Coppola just made a while ago. Nuss didn't have much to work with there.
And now, HBU is within 4. At the end of these matches, this is when you cannot make errors. I know that all these girls are tired, but you have to play your smartest yet at this point.
That's a very nicely placed shot by Wooten. 18-15. Here come the Huskies.
Here they come, and Wooten showed another great beach play. She did what's called a tomahawk when digging that ball perfectly up, and then was able to put that ball down.
So we just showed you some hand signals from the non-server. What kind of communication is that? What do those hand signals indicate?
So usually those are 2 different things. So what it can usually tell is serving. So it'll say, serve. One hand says serve this player, the other hand says I'm going to block line or block angle. And I think for the most part, what this has been saying is exactly where to serve. So telling the other player where to serve.
LSU with 2 straight points and is 1 point away from winning this match in straight sets. 20-15. LSU serving for the match as the team swap sides. Coppola. And there it is. LSU wins 21-15. A straight set victory by the LSU Tigers.
Very hard fought. These girls did everything they could to keep their rallies going. We saw some really impressive rallies. We saw a couple of different errors, but you know, we're in the thick of the season right now, so these girls are only going to continue to improve as they get closer to the CCSA and NCAA tournament.
So we know the #1 pair is victorious tonight. We'll be back to bring you some scores from all the other matches as well and see who won the overall affair between LSU and Houston Baptist. 21-11, 21-15, the final in this duel.